Hi, boys and girls. All right, this week we are going to... What? Oh, don't scare me like that. Guys, look at Blue. What did you do to yourself? Oh, look at you. You look so festive. Is this your holiday outfit? Oh, you look like you ran into a pine tree. Cool. All right, so Blue thinks we should kind of do some winter-themed, holiday-ish style projects, so let's get going. Right, Blue? Yeah. The elements of art. So today we will be focusing on value. Yay! Value can mean a couple of things. It can mean how much something is worth, but in terms of the elements of art, it doesn't quite mean that. So let's take a look at what it does mean. Kabam! So basically, my friend's value is how light or dark a given hue can be. What's a hue? Oh, right there. A hue is a color. So your hue can be really light or it can be really dark. Artists use value to make objects look actually three-dimensional and more realistic. So playing around with value is a lot of fun because when you are looking at objects that are three-dimensional, they're not one color. They're a lot more than one. In fact, they have a range of value. So let's go to the next slide. Kabam! This is a value scale. Move my face. Okay. So when I say a value scale, I mean you have a range from dark to light. This is a black and white value scale. So you guys, how do I make this happen? Well, it depends on your pressure when you are coloring. So basically, you guys, if I want it to be super, super dark, I take my pencil, I take my writing utensil and whatever I'm using to color and stuff in my paper, and I push really hard, and I get it really dark. Opposite of that, I want it really light. I need really light spots. So instead of pushing super hard, I'm super light about it. I barely touch the paper. Yay! So you guys, it's important to pay attention to the pressure you are applying to your paper. So again, a lot of pressure is dark. Not very much pressure is super light. So a value scale is a range from light to dark. So you can have value scales in colors, not just black and white. So take a look at these colors here. So this at the top says Monochromatic Colors. That's a fancy word, you guys. Basically, monochromatic colors is a given hue with tints, tones, and shades. What does that really mean? Well, I'll tell you. Don't you worry. I'll tell you. So basically, a monochromatic color is showing value. So this has a lot of colors here, which might be a little bit on the confusing side, but we're going to pay attention to one row. Let's take a look at red here. So red, this is our hue. Okay, so this is the hue we start off with. If I add white to red, it starts getting lighter and lighter and lighter. Okay? Yay! Now, let's go backwards. If I take my color and I add black and it's getting darker and darker and darker. So again, this is how I can show that something is three-dimensional and give things a lot more detail. Let's look at one row by itself. Here is a monochromatic color of blue. Okay? So I have labeled it because when I add white to things, it becomes something called a tint. And if I add black to my hue, it becomes a shade. So right here, under 5, I put hue. That's the color you start with. That's my pure hue. So basically, I take my crayon, I color with it. That's the color it is. That's the color I start with. Now, if I want to get really light with it, I would add white to it. So again, if I was using a crayon, I just wouldn't push very hard, and I would let that white paper kind of come through to show that it's getting lighter. So I've got my hue, get lighter, lighter, and lighter, and lighter, and then I have a tint. So hue plus white equals tint. Let's go the other way. If I take my hue and I want to get darker, I would add a little bit of black, a little bit of black. Now, black goes a really long way, so be careful with how much black you add, okay? Okay. So if you added, it ends up being a shade. Hue plus black equals shade. Easy squeezy. And now I have a monochromatic color. So we're going to be working on something together, and you're going to need, move my face. Hey, face, get out of the way. Get up. There you go. You will need one piece of paper and something to color with. So crayons will work. Colored pencils will work. I used oil pastels because I prefer using them to blend different colors in. Okay? That's what I like to use. So you will need to collect those items before we begin. Yay! So this would be a good time to pause and get ready. By the way, in mine, I ended up cutting mine out at the end. That is not a requirement. But I had my background super messy, so I decided to cut it out. So that is kind of up to you and optional if you want to cut it out. All right, guys. So get your stuff and let's begin. Okay, so I have my oil pastels. I picked two hues, two colors, red and green. I have white and I have black. I also have a pencil to help me out in the beginning, so if I didn't list that, which I don't think I did, just grab a pencil real quick so you can pause this if you need one. My bad. So I've turned my paper to the landscape orientation, so the wide way. I have my pencil ready, turning it this way again, just to mess with you. If I find the middle and scooch over and scooch up a little bit, I'm going to mark that spot, okay? Then from there, I'm going to draw a line that comes up, around, and down, okay? Up, around, down. Here I am darkening it a little bit. This is a candy cane, and I need to make my candy cane thicker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosely and lightly, which means I'm not pushing, I'm going to draw a curved edge at the bottom, like a big smiley face. And at the other side, another curved edge. The middle line is going to end up being erased. We don't need the middle line. Then I'm just going to come up and follow my middle line all the way down. Up, 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 all the way down, 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 down. Now my candy cane shape needs to be kind of fixed here and there. It's definitely not perfect. So I'm going to be taking my eraser and fixing some of these lines. And I am going to be erasing the middle line. We don't need it. Okay? Whenever you're drawing with pencil, the darker, the worse it is, because if you make a mistake and you need to erase, you draw light first. Draw light until you get it right. Alright, so at this point, I'm erasing some of my yucky lines, smoothing things out. I'm going to be erasing my pencil mark on the inside as well. So there's a couple of things for me to erase until I am ready to use my colorful, colorful, colorful materials. Alright, that's a better shape. Alright, now I'm going to erase on the inside that line, like I said earlier. And I am going to then add some more lines. Okay, so now I'm at the bottom, and I'm going to follow that line that's at the bottom. See, right there. So I follow that line. I'm going to scooch up a bit, and I'm going to add that same line back in. Go up a bit, back in. We don't want our lines too close together, so don't put them right up next to each other. Scooch, and add a line, scooch, add a line. And this curved part is where it gets complicated. So you see me practicing before I add it. But all I'm going to do is turn my candy cane and keep adding that line. Turn, add a line, turn, add a line. Alright. Now I've got my candy cane. I'm going to fix the top part because it's bothering me. Blech. And fix it. Yay. Okay, so once I've fixed it, I am going to begin adding color. So the very first layer, All right, so I have, next to me, I have red and green pulled out. You don't have to go with red and green, but you should pick 2 colors so it can be a pattern. And I'm going to zoom in for you. So I'm going to follow that pencil mark first. The first one I'm going to follow all the way around the bottom and up on the edges. Sometimes it's hard to line up the oil pastel with the pencil marks, so you got to be careful with where you go. Okay, so after I've gotten all the way around, moving to the other side here, tracing that outer line, I am pushing hard on my pastel to make it a bit on the darker side. And once I've got that all filled, I'm going to leave the middle a bit on the white side. So I'm going to be coloring in, filling it in, moving towards the center. And at this point, I am pushing pretty hard. And then as I get closer and closer to the center, I start to get lighter. So here's my lighter time. So I'm not pushing as hard at all, trying to make it look a lot lighter. So pressure is important, and I know it doesn't seem like it's super light right now, but as I get closer to the middle, even lighter now, hardly pressing. And then for this sake, I am going to be getting white out, and I'm going to be coloring that middle point, and I do overlap my color a little bit. So that red area, I'm going to color over a little bit and kind of blend that in. Okay. Color, 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 color. Okay. So now it looks like it's much whiter towards the center and it's darker towards the edge. Now I'm going to move to my next color. All right, so this time with my green, my next color, I'm going to go along just the sides. I'm not going to go along the bottom like I did with my first row. Okay, so it's just going to be the sides. And like the last time, the edges are the darkest. And then I begin to color inward a little bit. In. And I am pushing pretty hard currently, so I am trying to make my green look the darkest that it can. And I'm going to erase this pencil line just a little bit so you don't see it through my color. Get that pencil mark off. And then I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to fill it in, same way I did the other one, where I push down pretty hard along the edges. And then I'm going to get a lighter area where I'm not pushing as hard. Slow and steady wins the race. Color, 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 nice and neat. Oil pastels are a little bit different. You can overlap color to make things blend in so it's not 100% perfect coloring when you first start. So that's nice to know because you can really cover up some of the holes you're getting. Alright, so I got a really light area in there. And then I'm going to go to town with the white, blending that in. So if you're using colored pencil, you can definitely be doing this with the white. Remember how I said I don't really want you to be using marker because it's really hard to be able to do this with marker. Not impossible, but pretty tough. Crayons you can do this with as well. I like to stack crayons when I'm coloring. So all of this applies, but oil pastel is probably your best bet because it blends much better. Alright, so now I'm going to continue. So I'm going to do the same thing over and over again, and I'm working in a pattern. So that means red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green. If you want to add more colors to your pattern, you can really go to town, but try to get it to be a pattern. You color the darkest along the edges, and then your next layer is a bit on the lighter side, gradually lighter and lighter until you get your tint in the middle, okay? So at this point, if you are confused, rewind, rewatch what I've been doing. If you understand what I'm doing, cool, then continue doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed up this part of the video. Don't work as fast as I'm working on here because I'm not actually working that fast. I've sped it up. So slow and steady is nicer, neater coloring. Okay, so speeding up now. Okay, so zooming out, this is what my candy cane is looking like right now. It looks super shiny. It looks really cool. It has a range of value right now, except we're missing our darker areas. So I have a black all ready to go, and I haven't used it yet. So next what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding a shade. So we remember shade from our Monochromatic Colors. It's our hue plus black. Now, the more you add, the more you can't really take away. So I recommend going really light with black. And all I'm kind of doing is I'm going along the edge of my candy cane, just giving it that little bit of shadow. Okay, so I'm working along the edge, and I'm actually really light about how I'm applying black. The harder you push, it's just way more challenging to get that corrected. You can't really take black away. You can always add more though, so that's why I recommend going really light. So I'm going along the edges of my candy cane right now with the black oil pastel. La 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 la. And some shade. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Candy cane. Candy cane. I want a candy cane now. I'm having problems, you guys. If I do food themed projects, I just want to eat them all the time. And so some of my areas are getting a little sloppy along the outside, but I'm going to be cutting my candy cane out. If you don't want to cut your candy cane out, that's fine, but I want to. So that's my plan. Okay, now I'm going on the other side. So this shadow is a pretty rough little thing. Okay, nice and light, not too much. Getting that added. Ooh, candy cane, you look fancy. Alright, so I'm going to come along the other side, lightly getting that in. Might even get darker towards the edge. Go, go, go. Miss No, no, no. Okay. Am I going to move my paper? I am. So you can actually see the bottom. Yeehaw. Alright, so I've got it all the way down to the bottom, adding some quick shadow left. And how does it look? Any little last minute touch-ups? Pretty good? Okay. So like I said earlier, I have chosen to cut out my candy cane. You don't have to do this. If you want to do this, cool. That's how I decided I was going to take care of my messy parts. Now what I do with it when I cut it out, I could do a couple things. I could get some colorful paper and glue it to colorful paper. I could just leave it just one plain candy cane. I could add it to another piece of white paper so that all my messy parts are gone, like magic. I could get another piece of white paper and do several other candy canes and make like a candy cane collage. There's so many things I could do. But first, I'm just gonna cut it out. Do, 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 do. Okay. So I feel like one candy cane is probably not filling up my space enough. So if anything, it would be kind of cool to have like an army of candy canes. Army. Maybe they're all sprinkled on the ground a little bit so that it kind of looks like candy cane collage. Oh yeah, candy cane time. Fixing up something. And like I said earlier, I think I'm going to be getting a couple pieces of paper, colorful construction paper, and putting my candy cane on them. So I have grabbed a couple of options. I have grabbed a green piece of paper and a black piece of paper, and I got to decide which one I like best. So let's see which one looks better. Here is my candy cane on black paper. Ooh, that looks fancy. And let's see what it looks like on green. Kind of like it on green better. Black or green. Black or green. I'm trying to figure out which one it stands out of the most. So, let's just leave you on black for now. And, again, I could add a lot more candy canes. I could make some more that show value and add them like a candy cane collage, but here we go. Make sure you share these with me on Seesaw, and I cannot wait to see what you create.